Life will test you. It will throw setbacks, disappointments, and challenges your way. And in those moments, the easiest option is always to stop, to give up, to quit. But quitting doesn't end the struggle. It only guarantees regret. When you quit, you trade temporary discomfort for permanent disappointment. And that's not a fair trade. Success was never meant to come quickly, and certainly not easily. The path to achievement is paved with obstacles. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not talent, not luck, not intelligence. It is simply persistence. Think about it, the seasons change. Winter always comes. The storms are real. But no winter lasts forever. Spring will arrive. The question is, will you be ready for it, or will you quit too soon and miss the harvest? Don't quit when it gets tough. Don't quit when progress feels slow. Don't quit just because you can't see results today. Success often hides behind the curtain of consistency. One more step, one more try, one more day of effort. That could be the moment that breaks the barrier. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of quitting lasts a lifetime. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. If you stay the course, if you endure, you will discover strength you didn't know you had. So, when you feel tired, rest if you must. But don't quit. When you feel discouraged, remember why you started. When the journey feels long, focus on the vision, not the obstacles. The reward is on the other side of perseverance. Your dreams are waiting for you, but they require proof. The proof is your persistence. Let others stop, let others quit, but not you. Stay strong, keep going, because the only true failure is quitting. Everything else is progress. So, my message to you is simple: do ain't quit. When the road gets tough, quitting always appears to be the easiest option. It offers a temporary escape, a moment of relief from the struggle and the weight of responsibility. But what quitting truly offers is not peace. It is regret. When you give up on something that mattered to you, you may silence the immediate discomfort, but you awaken a deeper pain that lingers for years. Regret doesn't come instantly. It waits, quietly, showing up when you see someone else living the dream you abandoned, or when life reminds you of the path you could have taken but chose not to. That reminder never goes away. Quitting guarantees regret because it denies you the chance to discover how strong you really are. There is always that critical point in any pursuit when the mind whispers, "This is too hard." It might be in business, when the numbers aren't adding up, in health, when the results aren't showing, in relationships, when communication feels like a battle, or in personal growth, when the discipline seems unbearable. In that moment, quitting feels like freedom. You justify it by saying it wasn't the right time, or that maybe it wasn't meant for you. But years later, you'll wonder what would have happened if you had pressed on a little longer. You'll wonder how close you really were to the breakthrough. Most people quit when success is just a little further than the eye can see. The regret comes from knowing you'll never find out what could have been. The human spirit is designed to endure, but it is also tempted by ease. We are drawn toward comfort because the struggle feels unnatural. But struggle is the birthplace of strength. Every dream demands a price, and that price is persistence. When you quit, you refuse to pay that price, and in exchange, you receive regret as your bill. Think about how many people look back at their lives and say, "I wish I had tried harder. I wish I hadn't given up so soon." Rarely does anyone look back and say, "I regret working too hard," or pushing through the pain. No, the deepest pain comes from stopping, from surrendering when there was still a chance to win. Quitting is final. It closes the door on possibility. Failure, on the other hand, is not final. It's feedback. If you fail but continue, you learn, you grow, you adapt, and you move forward. Quitting takes away the opportunity to learn. It leaves you stuck in a moment, replaying it in your mind, knowing you chose to walk away. The haunting part of regret is not the mistakes made along the way, but the opportunities you abandoned without giving them everything you had. That regret doesn't fade. It grows louder with time because your potential knows it was ignored. Life is not meant to be perfect, and no goal worth having comes without resistance. The obstacles are not signs to quit, but signs to continue. They are proof that you are on the path that matters. Regret often stems from misunderstanding this truth. People believe difficulty is a signal to stop, but in reality, difficulty is the measure of value. If it were easy, everyone would do it, and it would mean little. The weight of the challenge is what makes the victory meaningful. Quitting robs you of that meaning. It takes away not only the reward, but also the pride of knowing you didn't let the storm push you down. Imagine yourself years from now, reflecting on the choices you made. Which pain would you rather carry? The pain of pushing through the hard days, or the pain of looking back and knowing you stopped too soon? The first pain is temporary. It passes, and it leaves behind growth, strength, and achievement. The second pain, the pain of regret, never truly disappears. It lingers in the mind and heart, a constant reminder of what could have been. That is why quitting guarantees regret. Because no matter how justified it feels in the moment, it always leaves a permanent scar on your future self. Every dream, every goal, every vision you hold in your heart is there for a reason. It's a calling, a message to you that this is worth pursuing. When you quit, you silence that calling, and deep down, you know you betrayed yourself. That self-betrayal is the heaviest form of regret because you cannot escape it. You can hide it from others, but you cannot hide it from your own heart. You will always know that you could have been more, that you could have achieved more, that you could have lived more fully. If only you had refused to quit. That is why perseverance matters so much. Not because it guarantees immediate results, but because it protects you from the burden of regret. Even if success comes later than you hoped, or in a different form than you imagined, you will have the peace of knowing you gave everything. That peace outweighs the temporary relief of quitting. When you keep going, you trade the possibility of regret for the certainty of growth. And in the end, growth is the true reward. Would you like me to also expand the other 5 key points? Like persistence beats talent, tough times don't last, etc. into the same 700-word style so you can build talent is often celebrated as the golden ticket to success. People look at gifted athletes, brilliant minds, or natural performers and believe they were destined for greatness because of what they were born with. But talent alone has never been enough. Talent may give you a head start, but it cannot carry you across the finish line. Persistence, on the other hand, is the great equalizer. Persistence can take ordinary people and deliver extraordinary results. Talent may open doors, but persistence is what keeps them open. Without persistence, talent dries up, potential goes unfulfilled, and dreams collapse under the weight of inconsistency. Persistence is the commitment to keep moving forward, regardless of how many times you stumble or how long it takes. It's the discipline of showing up day after day, even when motivation fades, even when the applause stops, and even when success feels miles away. The world is full of talented individuals who never reached their potential because they lacked persistence. They relied on natural ability but refused to put in the effort when the journey got tough. Talent without persistence is like a car without fuel. It may look powerful, but it goes nowhere. History proves this truth. The greatest inventors, leaders, and creators were rarely the most talented, but they were always the most persistent. They failed more times than others tried. They pushed through ridicule, rejection, and self-doubt. And because they stayed the course, they discovered breakthroughs that talent alone could never achieve. Persistence creates mastery, and mastery eventually outshines raw ability. The person who keeps practicing, keeps studying, keeps refining will eventually surpass the one who relied only on talent. Talent also has a limit. Natural ability may allow someone to excel at the beginning, but persistence stretches the boundaries of what's possible. Every skill, no matter how difficult, can be sharpened with effort and time. Persistence transforms weakness into strength and strength into excellence. A person who is persistent doesn't wait for inspiration. They create momentum by refusing to stop. While talent waits for the perfect moment, persistence builds progress out of imperfect effort. Persistence has another advantage over talent: it builds character. Talent may impress others, but persistence earns respect. Persistence proves determination, resilience, and integrity. It shows that you value the goal enough to endure hardship, and life always tests how badly you want something. If success came only from talent, it would be cheap. But because success demands persistence, it carries weight and meaning. The struggle you overcome to reach the goal becomes part of the reward. There is also a danger in relying on talent. Talent can create arrogance. It can make people believe they don't have to work as hard as others. That attitude eventually leads to stagnation because someone else, less talented but more persistent, is working longer, practicing harder, and staying more consistent. Over time, persistence always overtakes talent. The tortoise always beats the hare, not because it is faster, but because it never stops. In every area of life, business, relationships, health, personal growth, the people who win are not the ones with the most natural gifts, but the ones who refuse to quit. Persistence is stronger than rejection. It is stronger than failure. It is stronger than fatigue. When talent fails, persistence still has more to give. It doesn't matter how many times you fall if you refuse to stay down. Every comeback strengthens you, and every setback teaches you something talent alone could never provide. Persistence is not glamorous. It often looks boring, repetitive, and unnoticed. It is the late nights, the early mornings, the small tasks repeated countless times. Talent can shine in a moment, but persistence proves itself over years. And when you add persistence to talent, the combination is unstoppable. But even without talent, persistence alone can take you further than you ever imagined. The truth is, life doesn't reward the most talented, it rewards the most persistent. The ones who stay, the ones who fight, the ones who keep moving when others walk away. Talent fades if it isn't developed, but persistence compounds like interest. The longer you hold on to it, the greater the results become. Every effort builds upon the last, and over time, persistence transforms into achievement. So when the path feels slow, when others seem more gifted, and when doubt whispers that you're not talented enough, remember this: talent might make a difference at the start, but persistence decides the finish. You don't need to be the most talented to succeed. You only need to be the one who refuses to stop. Life has a way of presenting storms that seem unending. In the middle of hardship, it feels as though the weight will never lift, as if the night will never turn into day. Yet no matter how fierce the storm, no matter how long the night, tough times do not last. They are seasons, temporary in nature, designed not to break us, but to build us. What lasts is not the hardship itself, but the strength and character we gain by enduring it. Pain passes, struggles fade, but the lessons remain. Every difficult season carries with it a hidden expiration date. Think about winter. It may feel long, cold, and endless, but it always gives way to spring. Life operates on the same rhythm. The trials you face are not permanent conditions. They are phases meant to shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. The problem is that when you're in the middle of the storm, it is hard to see beyond it. The challenge is convincing yourself that the pain is temporary, that better days are ahead. But they are. No dark cloud stays forever. Tough times often feel overwhelming because they magnify fear and doubt. They whisper that you will never escape, that life will always feel heavy, that things will not get better. But those whispers are lies. If you look back at your own history, you'll see countless moments when you thought you wouldn't make it. And yet here you are. The proof of your resilience is written in your past. You have survived every single hard day up until now, and you are stronger than you realize. If the past storms couldn't defeat you, neither will the present one. What separates those who overcome challenges from those who are crushed by them is perspective. Some people see hardship as the end, while others see it as the beginning of growth. The truth is, tough times are the training ground for greatness. They teach patience when things don't move as quickly as you hoped. They teach resilience when progress feels invisible. They teach humility when your own strength seems insufficient. The difficulty you face today may be preparing you for opportunities tomorrow that you could not handle without this preparation. Hardship also exposes truth. It reveals who your real friends are, where your true priorities lie, and what truly matters in life. When times are good, it's easy to coast. But when life presses down, the unnecessary gets stripped away and clarity appears. In that sense, tough times are not only temporary but also valuable. They refine you, making you stronger and sharper for the future. The key is endurance. Tough times do not last, but you must last longer than they do. You must decide that no matter how heavy the burden, you will not give up. Many people quit in the middle of struggle, not realizing how close they are to relief. The night is darkest before the dawn, and most breakthroughs happen right after the hardest trials. If you can stay consistent, keep moving, and refuse to quit, you will outlast the difficulty. It is also important to remember that struggle is universal. Everyone faces it, no matter how successful they appear. The difference is not who faces tough times, but how they respond to them. Some let challenges define them, while others use challenges to refine them. Every time you push through hardship, you are building resilience for the future. The more storms you endure, the more unshakable you become. Eventually, difficulties that once would have broken you will feel small compared to the strength you've developed. Time itself works in your favor. Just as seasons change without your control, so too will your circumstances. No storm lasts forever. What feels overwhelming today may be a story of triumph tomorrow. What seems unbearable now may become the very foundation of your testimony later. You are not meant to remain in pain. You are meant to grow from it, move through it, and come out stronger on the other side. So when life feels unbearable, remind yourself that this is not permanent. Remind yourself that tough times are temporary guests, not permanent residents. They will leave, and when they do, they will leave behind a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. The pain will pass, but the person you become through the struggle will remain. Greatness is rarely the result of one grand moment. It is almost always the outcome of countless small steps taken consistently over time. The challenge is that small steps don't always feel significant in the moment. They seem too minor to matter, too ordinary to bring about real change. But in truth, small steps are the hidden architects of breakthroughs. They are the quiet, steady actions that compound into transformation. Each step may appear small, but together, they build momentum that cannot be stopped. Many people overestimate the power of a single dramatic effort and underestimate the power of steady, repeated effort. They wait for the perfect day, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect burst of motivation to take action. But breakthroughs are not born from occasional bursts of effort. They are born from steady progress that compounds quietly in the background. Just like drops of water can carve valleys into stone, small steps have the power to reshape your entire life. Consider how habits work. One workout may not change your body, but the discipline of exercising regularly transforms your health. One healthy meal may not make a difference, but a consistent commitment to nourishing your body builds vitality over time. Reading one page a day may seem insignificant, but over a year, it adds up to entire books, feeding your mind with wisdom and knowledge. These small actions compound in a way that is invisible at first, then suddenly undeniable. That's how breakthroughs happen. They seem to appear all at once, but they are really the result of quiet persistence. The danger comes when people dismiss small steps as unimportant. They convince themselves that if they cannot do something big, then doing something small isn't worth it. But waiting for big leaps is what keeps people stuck. Big leaps are rare. Small steps are available every single day. The truth is, 1,000 small steps will take you farther than one big leap that never happens. Success belongs to those who move, even if the movement is small. Small steps also build confidence. When you commit to doing something manageable each day, you begin to trust yourself. You prove that you can follow through. That trust compounds into belief, and belief fuels persistence. Each small step strengthens your identity as someone who takes action. Before long, the habit of consistent effort becomes natural, and breakthroughs follow as a natural consequence. Breakthroughs are not sudden accidents. They are the visible tipping point of invisible consistency. Think about an ice cube melting. You may raise the temperature 1 degree at a time, and nothing seems to change. But then, at a certain point, the ice suddenly begins to melt. That melting moment is the breakthrough. But it wasn't created at that single degree. It was created by all the small increases in temperature before it. Life works in the same way. Your consistent small steps heat up the process until one day everything shifts. It's also important to realize that small steps make big goals less intimidating. Looking at the mountain from the bottom can make you feel overwhelmed. But if you focus only on the next step, the climb becomes possible. Break down the journey into pieces, and each piece becomes achievable. This mindset prevents paralysis and turns impossible dreams into manageable tasks. You don't have to conquer the mountain today. You only need to take the next step. The world often celebrates dramatic success stories, but overlooks the years of small steps that created them. The artist practiced daily when no one was watching. The entrepreneur worked on the vision piece by piece long before it became a business. The athlete trained in silence before the medals ever appeared. What looks like an overnight success is always the result of consistent effort repeated over time. The breakthrough may happen in a moment, but the preparation for it takes years of small steps. The beauty of this truth is that it means breakthroughs are within reach for anyone. You don't need extraordinary talent, immense resources, or perfect timing. You only need the discipline to take small steps consistently. Those steps will carry you forward, even when progress feels invisible. The compound effect is always at work, building results quietly until one day, the breakthrough becomes obvious. So when the journey feels slow, when results seem invisible, and when doubt creeps in, remind yourself of this progress is happening, even if you can't see it yet. Every small step counts. Every act of consistency matters. Breakthroughs don't come to those who wait for them. They come to those who build them, one small step at a time. Discipline is often seen as a burden. Waking up early when you would rather sleep, choosing to exercise when your body wants to rest, saving money when you'd prefer to spend, or studying when entertainment calls your name. All of these require discipline. In the moment, it feels heavy. Discipline requires sacrifice, and sacrifice never feels easy. Yet the truth is simple: the weight of discipline is light compared to the crushing weight of regret. Discipline may hurt today, but regret lasts a lifetime. When you practice discipline, you carry a small load each day. It may be uncomfortable, but it is manageable. You feel the sting of self-control, the resistance of effort, the inconvenience of saying no to your impulses. But those little sacrifices compound into strength, growth, and success. Regret, on the other hand, carries no immediate weight. It lets you delay, avoid, and escape responsibility for now. But in time, it grows into a heavy burden, one that weighs on your heart and mind long after the chance to act has passed. Discipline is temporary, regret is permanent. You may hate the effort of discipline in the moment, but once the task is done, pride follows. You feel stronger, more capable, more in control of your life. The pain of discipline turns into satisfaction. Regret offers the opposite. It feels easy at first, even pleasant. You avoid discomfort and gain momentary pleasure. But later, when the opportunity is gone and the price of inaction comes due, regret takes its toll. It steals peace of mind and replaces it with endless what ifs. That is why discipline always hurts less than regret. Think about your health. Discipline asks you to exercise consistently, to eat wisely, to rest properly. It may feel like an inconvenience, but the regret of ignoring your health, living with disease, weakness, or limited energy is far more painful. Think about finances. Discipline asks you to save, to invest, to live within your means. That may feel restrictive in the moment, but the regret of being unprepared when emergencies come or arriving at retirement with nothing is far heavier. The same is true with relationships, career, or personal growth. Discipline costs something now, but regret costs everything later. The problem is that most people measure pain in the short term. They see only the immediate sacrifice, not the long-term reward. They choose comfort now and ignore the discomfort waiting for them down the road. But wise people understand that pain is unavoidable. Life always demands a price. You either pay the price of discipline today, or you pay the far greater price of regret tomorrow. The choice is not whether you will experience pain, but which kind of pain you will endure. Discipline is also a teacher. It shapes character, sharpens focus, and builds resilience. Every time you choose discipline, you strengthen the muscle of self-control. You become the kind of person who can be trusted to follow through, not just by others, but by yourself. That builds confidence and self-respect. Regret, however, erodes confidence. It whispers that you wasted time, that you missed your chance, that you failed to live up to your potential. And the cruel truth about regret is that time cannot be reclaimed. Once it is gone, it cannot be recovered. Discipline protects you from that pain. Another powerful truth is that discipline compounds. Each disciplined action builds on the last. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. What once felt impossible slowly becomes habit. And habits, when rooted in discipline, create a life of freedom. You gain freedom because you are no longer controlled by impulses or procrastination. You live intentionally, with clarity and purpose. Regret, on the other hand, also compounds, but in the opposite direction. Small acts of neglect build into large consequences. Ignoring small responsibilities today leads to major failures tomorrow. What starts as laziness or avoidance grows into disappointment and missed opportunities. It is helpful to view discipline not as punishment, but as an investment. You are trading short-term discomfort for long-term peace. You are choosing a moment of sacrifice in exchange for a future of freedom. Regret offers no such return. It promises comfort now but delivers pain later, and the pain lasts far longer than the pleasure ever did. At the end of life, most people do not regret the moments of discipline. They don't say, "I wish I had been lazier. I wish I had wasted more time. I wish I had ignored my potential." Instead, they regret not being disciplined enough. They regret the chances they didn't take, the opportunities they abandoned, the goals they never reached. That is the voice of regret, and it is the loudest voice of all. So the choice is clear. Carry the light weight of discipline each day, or live under the crushing burden of regret for years to come. One hurts now but brings peace later. The other feels easy now, but leaves scars that never truly heal. Discipline hurts less than regret, always. And those who embrace it create lives of strength, meaning, and fulfillment. Failure is a word that often scares people. It carries with it images of defeat, embarrassment, and disappointment. But failure, in its truest sense, is not when you try and fall short. Failure is not missing the target, stumbling along the way, or even making a mistake. Those are simply lessons, stepping stones that teach you what doesn't work so you can discover what does. True failure only happens when you quit. The moment you decide to stop trying, the moment you walk away from your goal and never return, that is the only time failure becomes permanent. Every setback you experience before that point is just feedback. It is the universe's way of refining you, shaping your skills, and building your resilience. Think of a child learning to walk. They fall again and again, sometimes bumping into things, sometimes crying in frustration. But they keep standing up, taking another step, and eventually they master the skill. No one would call a child a failure for falling down. We understand that falling is part of learning, yet as adults, we forget this truth. We fall once or twice, and suddenly we call ourselves failures. The reality is, we only fail when we stop standing back up. Quitting takes away the possibility of victory. As long as you remain in the game, there is still a chance, still a path forward, still a possibility of success. Quitting slams the door shut. It robs you of the chance to discover how close you really were. Many people quit when the breakthrough was just around the corner, not realizing they had already endured most of the journey. The tragedy of quitting is that you'll never know how near you were to the reward. Mistakes, obstacles, and slow progress are not signs to quit. They are signs that you are moving. If you encounter resistance, it means you're on a path that matters. Easy roads lead nowhere meaningful. The struggle is proof that you're pursuing something valuable. Each obstacle builds strength, each setback teaches patience, and each delay develops perseverance. When you quit, you forfeit all of those gains. You deny yourself the growth that comes from pushing through. True failure being quitting is also about identity. When you quit on something that mattered deeply to you, it leaves a mark on your spirit. It whispers to you that maybe you weren't capable, maybe you weren't strong enough, maybe you didn't have what it takes. That voice doesn't disappear easily because deep down you know you abandoned yourself. But when you persist, even through loss and disappointment, you build a stronger identity. You prove to yourself that you are someone who doesn't give up. And that belief becomes the foundation for future success. The great achievers in history understood this. They didn't succeed because everything went smoothly. They succeeded because they refused to quit. They failed more times than most people ever attempted. But each failure was just a lesson, not the end. They recognized that the only way to truly fail was to stop trying altogether. That same principle applies to you. As long as you continue, you are not failing, you are learning. It's also important to realize that quitting often disguises itself as justification. People tell themselves, "It just wasn't meant to be," or "I'll try again someday." But deep down, those are excuses to escape discomfort. The truth is, anything worth achieving will test your patience, your discipline, and your persistence. Quitting is the easy way out, but it guarantees that your goal will never be realized. Pushing forward, even imperfectly, keeps the dream alive. Life rewards persistence. It doesn't require perfection, only consistency. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to keep going. Each attempt gets you closer, even if it doesn't look like progress. The person who keeps trying will always outlast the one who quits after the first setback. That's why quitting is the only true failure. Everything else is just part of the process. One day, the pain of the struggle will pass. The setbacks will become stories, the obstacles will turn into lessons, and the mistakes will transform into wisdom. But if you quit, the pain doesn't pass. It lingers as regret, as a constant reminder that you chose to stop. That regret is far heavier than the weight of persistence. You don't want to carry that with you. So the next time you feel like quitting, remember that what you're experiencing is not failure. It's growth in disguise. It's life testing how much you want it. As long as you take one more step, as long as you keep moving forward, You haven't failed. You're still in the fight. True failure only comes when you decide to quit. And that decision is always in your control.